I had no contact with the court, with the prosecution, with the defense. I had no idea what was going on. We were retained by a certain organization, and they contacted the court. They were in talks with the court about, I guess, what we could or couldn't do. Anything I got was from that organization.
Did you testify under oath that they did inform me, yes, about testimony and situations and events that came forth in the event that I was not aware of?
I don't know. They told us about evidence. I don't know if it was specific to who testified to what, but they told us certain things, certainly, yes.
What I just said to you, are those your words, sir?
I have no idea. I mean, if that's what's in the record, I assume it is.
Would you agree it certainly helped you prepare?
It helped me prepare?
Yes.
It didn't make a difference to my analysis or conclusions.
Made no difference at all?
It did not, no, sir.
Would you agree it helped you understand what was going on during the trial?
I don't think it made a difference at all, no. It doesn't change the facts that I evaluated or the analysis I conducted or the conclusions I came to.
And so as you sit here today, you are denying that that information certainly helped you prepare.
How did it help me prepare? It didn't change the opinions I offered. It didn't change what was in my report or what I'm opining to or testifying to today. It hasn't changed anything I've ever testified to.
I'm going to ask you a very specific question. I want you to give me a very specific answer.
So just go ahead and ask the question.
Are you denying that receiving that information certainly helped you prepare?
Honestly, I can't remember. It didn't change my opinion. I don't see how it would help me prepare. I remember there was evidence about trace DNA found that we didn't know before. That didn't change my opinion then. It doesn't change my opinion now. It doesn't have anything to do with my opinion.
Details matter, right, sir?
Details can matter.
Details matter, so let's talk about detail.
Sure.
Are you denying that receiving that information certainly helped you prepare? Are you denying it? Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Yeah, I don't think that it did. It's been a year, but certainly it didn't change any of my opinions or what I opined to. It didn't change anything with my testimony.
I'm going to ask you one more time. I'll ask you a different question. Receiving that information from your employer, are you denying it helped you understand what was going on during the trial?
I'm going to allow that.
I don't even think that it did. I don't understand that. I understood what was happening. I understood what the theory was. So saying that there's trace DNA doesn't change anything. It doesn't affect what my understanding of the trial was or what was happening or what allegedly occurred.
When you were traveling out to testify last year, you had phone conversations with the defense, didn't you?
I think I had like 2 phone conversations, 2 or 3.
So that sounds like a yes, you did.
Yes, there was one right before my qualification, my voir dire, where I talked to Mr. Jackson, and that was it. Other than that, I think it was just planning and scheduling.
Mm-hmm. Was there any discussion on how you could portray yourself as independent?
I don't believe there was.
So you don't believe?
Yeah. There was no need to.
That's not the question. Details matter. Was there any attempt?
So the objection's sustained. I'm going to strike that, folks, okay? Questions, Mr. Brennan?
Was there any attempt in your conversations to portray yourself as independent as far as your arrangements were concerned in coming out here?
No, I don't think so, because there was no need to, because it was independent.
When you had conversations with the defense, did they offer to give you transportation assistance getting here?
They provided a ride to and from the airport, yes.
And did you tell the defense that you prefer to take an Uber so that it would appear independent to a jury?
No, because I didn't take an Uber. I took their ride. If I wanted to appear independent, then I would have taken an Uber.
You have a conversation about that you were thinking about taking an Uber.
It didn't even cross my mind, sir.
And then after you testified, did you stay independent?
What do you mean independent?
Well, did you have any bias warrant in you?
Any bias?
Bias, yes.
What do you mean? Did I have any bias?
Well, after you testified, where did you go?
Well, I was waiting for my ride, and to get back to the airport, they had to take other people, and so they were having a lunch afterwards, and they said, come have a sandwich, and then your ride will take you to the airport. So I went, and I had a ham sandwich.
You had a ham sandwich. Did you testify at some point that after you had something to eat, you just stood in the corner?
I did. I sat at a table 8, and then went over and literally stood in the corner waiting for my ride.
When you sat at the table and eat, did you just eat your ham sandwich, or did more go on?
I ate. People were talking. I really didn't talk much at all.
Did you listen?
Well, certainly, I'm sure I did, sir.
Did you laugh along?
I assume if something funny was said, I probably laughed.
Did you talk about your testimony?
I don't, at this point, I don't even remember.
Let me alert you to something. When you were there at the luncheon, did you see a camera crew
I believe I did, yes, sir.
filming and documenting, right?
There were a lot of cameras, yes.
You know that you might have been on some of that footage?
That's fine. I could care less.
Okay. So do you think maybe you were talking about the case and their answers and laughing it up a little bit?
I have no idea. Possibly.
You were involved in conversations with the defense attorneys, were you?
What do you mean conversation, sir? I had just gotten done testifying. I was having lunch. Whatever was spoken about at the table, I'm sure I heard.
You know what a conversation is when someone speaks to you and you answer.
Sure.
Did you have conversations with some of these folks?
Sir, I can't remember conversations I had last week, let alone a year ago. So I probably did, but I have no clue
Do you remember
what we would have talked about.
Do you remember accolades you might have been receiving because you had given certain answers to the then prosecutor on the case and laughing about the answers?
I have no idea.
You don't remember?
I can't remember last week what I had for lunch last Tuesday. How would I remember a conversation from over a year ago?
Do you remember when you were having conversations with some of these folks and you were laughing about when the prosecutor asked you about other evidence like DNA? You had a response, well, the physics doesn't change. You remember?
I don't specifically remember that, no, sir.
How long were you at the table eating your ham sandwich with the folks there enjoying the event? How long do you think that went on for?
I honestly don't know. 10 minutes? How long does it take you to eat a ham sandwich? 10 minutes?
And after you finished your ham sandwich and then you told us you stood in the corner, you got a ride back to the airport?
I did, yes, sir.
Yeah. After you got back to the airport, ultimately your company billed the defense for your time preparing and traveling and testifying?
I believe they did.
Well, you wrote your bills down, didn't you? You wrote your time down?
Well, I don't know who gets billed to it. I think it was actually, I wrote my time down, and it was the same time code for the original employer that we had. I'm not involved in billing. I don't know who the bill goes out to. I just put my time in and do my work.
Do you know that the defense paid that bill?
I have no idea if they paid it or not.
And then now you have a new contract with the defense. Or I should say you have a contract with the defense, don't you?
I assume ARCCA does. Again, I'm not involved in that. I don't do any part of the financials. I just do my job.
Do you keep your billing?
I enter my billing every week, yes.
Do you know how much you've been paid so far in this case?
I haven't been paid anything. I'm a salaried employee for ARCCA. I have no idea how much ARCCA's been paid.
How much has ARCCA been paid because of your work so far?
I have no idea. I'm not involved in the financials, sir.
You have no idea how much time, how much compensation your company is going to get for the work that you've done and continue to do on this case? You have no idea.
Yeah, it's not my concern. It's not my department, so I don't.
Is that that's a no?
That's a no, sir.
Now, when you communicated with the defense, you texted, didn't you?
When?
At any point.
There were some texts, yes.
And at some point there was a court order for you to bring a copy of your text?
I believe so, yes.
But when you say you believe so, details matter.
Yeah.
Do you know whether there was a court order for you to bring your texts?
I believe there was, yes.
Did you comply with that court order?
I complied with, yes, with whatever I had.
Did
Yes.
you have any of the text messages?
I don't believe so.
What happened?
Well, there were like 2 text messages about where I could get my ride and what time. And so after that day, like I do many times, I'd probably erase those texts.
When you say probably, did you delete the text that you had with the defense last year during the trial?
Again, I had like 2 texts about scheduling, and I'm sure I deleted them like sometime around that time, like I do with most texts.
Did you ever use Signal?
I did not, no, sir.
Why not?
I have no need to.
Why would you have a need to?
I'm going to allow it.
I wouldn't have a need to. That's why I said I don't use it.
What's Signal for?
It's for, I think, for encrypted messages.
Do any of your colleagues use Signal to have conversations with their clients?
I'm going to allow that you're aware.
I have no idea what my fellow employees or cohorts do.
One of your fellow employees is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Wolfe. Yeah?
That-
You worked very closely with him on this case, didn't you?
I've worked with him on this case, yes, sir.
And working with him on this case, were you aware of his habits, of whether or not he used encrypted apps like Signal?
I'm going to allow it.
I'm not aware of Dr. Wolfe's habits, no, sir.
When you worked on this case, when you began, you worked with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Klein?
But Scott Klein is another engineer at ARCCA that worked on the case, correct?
And you worked with Dr. Wolfe?
That's correct, yes.
You worked as a group?
Well, I mean, we all worked on the project together. I'm located in the Pittsburgh office, and Mr. Klein and Dr. Wolfe are in the Philadelphia office, so we didn't physically work together, but we worked on the same project, obviously.
When you first began your testimony yesterday, you said that you were restrained in what you could do. Do you remember that testimony?
I do, yes.
And when you said you were restrained, were you attempting like a preemptive strike because of certain things you didn't do to try to ward off any questions about that?
Objection.
Sustain.
Let me ask it this way. Were the rules different regarding your initial investigation for you as opposed to Dr. Wolfe?
I don't know that they were. I don't believe they were.
Did Dr. Wolfe have free reign to do whatever he wanted?
Objection.
Sustain.
Were you given free reign to do whatever testing you wanted?
I don't believe we were, no.
You, though, were you?
Was I?
Yes, were you given free reign to do whatever testing you wanted?
I mean, there was budgets, and we had to stay within certain values, so I wouldn't say I was given free reign because I couldn't do whatever I wanted.
Did anybody tell you what tests you could or couldn't do?
I don't think there was a list of specific tests or not, but you would discuss what would be done or what we could do and what the cost of those tests would be.
Were you free to suggest any tests that you wanted to?
I'm assuming I could suggest whatever I wanted to, sure.
Were any of your suggestions denied?
I can't remember. I don't know that they were. I mean, we had what we were constrained is what the client wanted to know. And so we tailored our tests to do that and tried to keep the budget and the cost of what we did in our analysis down for that very purpose.
Could you have suggested crash tests?
Probably could have suggested whatever I want.
Did you suggest crash tests?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, it might have been brought up, but pretty sure that would not have been within the budget. So
I want you to be detailed. I don't want you to guess.
Objection, Your Honor.
So without that preamp, go ahead and just ask the question, please.
Did you suggest doing crash tests last year?
I can't remember. We obviously didn't, but I don't know if that was brought up or not.
Do you, since your memory is difficult,
Objection.
Sustained.
No,